Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. Welcome to one more series of our 21-day challenge on Awaken Your Spiritual Neurons Empire. Today, we have a very special series. It's going to be, we're going to do a little meditation. And before we get into that, I'm going to try to help you to tune in into the followings that we have been doing in the last couple of series. We have been talking about moving from body consciousness to soul consciousness. And everything, of course, that we're doing is transformation in the state of mind. One of the things that we had to experience yesterday was precisely um, and I'm trying to get to my notes here. Um, Try to understand a little bit the consciousness of the mind. Try to understand how what we actually call mind. And this is, of course, something that it may sound a little bit rational, but is just with the purpose, of course, of helping you to understand a little bit what is it that composes your soul, so you can understand it and then you can absorb it and feel it. Okay, because being in a sense of a soul consciousness is not something really that you define. It's something that you actually gain awareness, right? And I mean, you see there's two words, right? Soul and then conscious. Being conscious of your soul means being aware of you know pretty much all your state of being, not only from your behavioral point of view, but also from your mental, your judging or your decisions, and also your actions. And all of that is basically energy that is expressed with your physical body into the real world. And what we are actually experiencing is basically a transformation between our conflicted mind and transcending it to a peace of mind. And sometimes there are concepts that might be a little bit difficult to simply rationalize, because precisely because of the fact that being connected, or at least what I am experiencing, is that being connected with a higher source, the Father, the divinity of everything that exists, within my mind, my heart, and around me, um, it's no longer something that I can say that I believe. I just simply experience, and I feel it, and I am aware of that energy as the source of my of my existence. And so, once we are aware, we gain the awareness of everything that we know and everything that we have been programmed with in our brains, right? And we start making the changes to uh, to a higher self consciousness. Basically, what we're doing is we're shifting from an old mindset to a higher and elevated mindset. And how can we actually define that? And something that I was actually reflecting on my meditation today, and some of the readings that I do, is that there are two types of mind. Let's say one is the warrior mind, and the other one is the mind of the light. uh, in previous series we have experienced both minds. We have experienced the warrior conflictive mind, and gradually we have been experiencing the mind of light, the light mind. And I have tried to give you a perspective from, the biological, the physical um, context, right? And that is something that, of course, we want to be aware in terms of knowledge, but in terms of experience, what we want to be able to do is we want to have elevated feelings. We have to transcend our lower selves, emotions, like anger or fears or guilt or shame, and try to transcend that, you know on a daily basis. This is something that we have to do on a daily basis, you know and it's transcending it, to a more peaceful environment in our mind. And the reason why I say this is because we all live on an 80,000 thoughts a day, pretty much. And we're having this battle, this war in our heads between what is right, what is wrong, what should we do or what shouldn't we do. And literally what is happening actually is that, we're giving space to our ego to confront, not only our desires, but at the same time to confront our essence. And our essence, if you think about it, before even we came into the physical reality or the physical world, it was peace, it was joy, it was love. And but when we got into the physical reality, soon we started to divert from that, from that essence. And we started to get conditioned to a lot of beliefs. We started to absorb information without living the opportunity, because of course we didn't know and we were conditioned to believe in certain things or to do certain things the way others told us to do. But we didn't have the opportunity to explore our own mind and express in our mind what really the mind is capable of doing, the own mind is capable of doing. So in that sense, we um, we experience the warrior mind, the conflictive mind, right? The mind of the ego, the mind of the war between the thoughts and the conflicts, right? The war between the right and the wrong. And this is the mind that we want to transcend. This is the mind that we want to actually, move. um, and and again, hear me out. We're not changing anything outside of the world. We're not changing anything physically. We're changing here. We're changing the way we think. And of course, when I say changing, we're talking about transcending our limited um, mindsets, right? And then when we start experiencing higher levels of consciousness, in other words, when we are aware that we are more than fear, than ego, that comparisons, than judgments, than gossip, when we are bigger than that, when we really realize that we are bigger than all those behaviors that we have, all of us, I have them. It's not that we're going to delete him. It's just that we're going to, practice other types of healthier thoughts and feelings, right? By practicing actually being in a state of peace of mind, right? And for that, of course, when we start allowing ourselves just to simply still, to be aware of our inside mind, to let pass everything that, you know, that it's been battling, and simply just let it pass and observe it, uh, we become not only aware of the existence of those uh, behaviors, we also become aware that there is silence, there is an observational perspective inside our mind. And that is when we become the mind of light, because we're observing everything that is happening in our mind, all of our conflicts, all of our behaviors. But at the same time, again, when we are observing, we have this knowledge now that our brain is light, our brain, because it's composed of electrical signals that are making connections, and also is moving towards our bodies. So what it's actually happening is that we are becoming to realize that we are beings of light. And while we are observing our current self images and our own limited beliefs and behaviors and ways of thinking, we're also concentrating, or we also have the awareness that there is this point of light, right? That is here, it's in our brain, and then it's right here in our forehead. That's like a little point that we can simply just concentrate, just visualize it. Something that I talked in my book is precisely visualize. And so that's basically, going from uh, the the mind of the warrior to the mind of the light. And that, why am I talking about all this? Because this is probably something that, I mean, to me, is helping me to understand that uh, I have significance, I have meaning in my existence, right? So that starts answering the question not only of who I am, but it also starts answering the question as to why do I exist. Okay. And this is something that, of course, at the beginning of our series, um, most of us came into the intention of challenging ourselves to transcend, the limited ways of thinking, to have and to gain more clarity as to who we really are, not this body, but who we really are, greater than our body, greater than even than our rational mind. Because and here's the thing, our rational mind, even our rational intellect, and the knowledge that we have, it becomes arrogant with time. Arrogant because it makes it our intellect part of the I, but not of the we, or the connection that we experience, within us, with others, and then with the universe, right? So in that sense, that's another thing that we need to pay attention in terms of our warrior mind, is how arrogant is our intellect, how arrogant in terms of how do we make our knowledge, or how do we make our concepts, you know some sort of like absolute truths, that the only truths that exists are the ones that we possess in our minds. And I think we have to be very careful when we acknowledge, um, or attribute ourselves, you know, to this feeling of being, the lords or the creators of everything. Because in some way, yes, we do have imagination, we have creativity, right? But that creativity actually comes from somewhere else, not only from our light in our mind. Somebody gave us that light, or something gave us that light. Something gave us that energy that we have in our minds. So in that sense, we have to recognize that we are not, um, you know alone in this universe. we are an extension of something. All right, and that extension, when you start experiencing, you're going to see that that extension, it doesn't have any limits to explanations. It doesn't have any limits uh, to thinking. It doesn't. I mean, it doesn't have any ego. This greater energy that we are referring to, it really doesn't possess any judgment or any uh, sense of punishment that we actually put in ourselves, right? It's much more greater than that. When we start experiencing that point of light right in our foreheads, we're not experiencing punishment or guilt or fear. What we are experiencing is just a state of tranquility, a state of peace, a state of pure love, right? Of self-compassion, self-respect. Just, still. That's the mind of the light that we want to achieve, despite, and don't take me wrong, right? I mean, as human beings, are as that we are conscious of being souls in a human experience, right? We have to deal with the physical. We have to deal with the outside world. But the thing is that we need to learn to somehow be in that state of mind of light rather than being on the state of the mind of the warrior, in such a way that when we interact with the outside world, basically what we're doing is, we're allowing things to flow. We're allowing ourselves also to exist, to coexist, and even, to gain awareness of everything that is going around us. And, by doing that, while we are actually going through also our natural process, our natural chemistry, which is breathing, which is eating, um, feeding ourselves with proper energy, feeding ourselves with proper creative thoughts so we can express to other people uh, in such a way that they can benefit themselves and we can benefit from that. That's the whole concept behind awareness, behind being conscious. And this is the expansion. And you probably will ask me. This is something that I was reflecting between yesterday and today in one of my conflictive thoughts. Right? I was like, what? Why am I doing this? Why am I doing this series? And this 21-day challenge, right? And then the answer that came to my mind was, well, okay. I think that's something that people are not aware, is that everybody wants to change, of course, but they don't know how. And because it is a process, and it really is a process that, it takes time. It doesn't only take 21 days to change. It takes time to actually get conscious of who we think we are versus who we truly are, right? uh, and I come to the conclusion that, I mean, the only reason why I'm doing this is because I firmly believe that processes, as everything that we are in our body, we are also in our minds. So if, I mean, if I can use my own process, my own, let's say, moments in which I am reflecting on how can I transcend, my conflictive suffering mind. And if I can share that in a real moment, maybe someone will actually benefit from that, right? So that's why I actually, make reference in the lives and in the posts that I do on a daily basis. um, I make reference to, make sure that you see uh, um, the other series, because you're gonna start feeling the difference, once you experience and you get more. Every day you get a little bit more aware of who you are. And I have noticed, to be honest with you, I have noticed that there has been a difference between the first series that I've done versus the series that I did yesterday, and even the way that I'm feeling today. You see, the first time, I was a little bit reluctant, and I was kind of like scared, to talk. And I made a conscious effort just to, to do my lives and to do my recordings as natural as possible. Not because I want to be perfect, uh, but because I want to experience the process of transformation, the process of evolving from one personality, old personality, to a new personality, to a higher personality, right? So this is pretty much the exercise that we are all doing. Now, let me talk to you a little bit. We don't have too much time, but let me talk to you a little bit about something that is important before we get into the process of the meditation that we're going to do. Is going to be a very short meditation, but very connective. Is that we need to be aware that when we are passing from one mind to another one, right? We are passing through a process, literally, and this is a reality of everything, right? We pass through a process of death, not the physical death, but we're passing through the process of dying to the old self and being born to the new self. There is a portion that I'm writing on my project, a very small portion that has to do with the nature behind living matter or the laws of existence. I'm pretty sure that you have read somewhere, the laws of existence, but I want to make reference to something that we cannot avoid, right? It's the fact that we as creatures, as living creatures, right? And this applies not only to human beings, but also, I mean, to animals, to flowers, um, to everything that is organic, of course, follows, a natural process in which, let's put it on ourselves, right? We are born, and once we are born, right, we pass through a series of um, phases in which we grow. At the same time, somehow while we are growing, right, we're passing through chemical changes, through mental changes. We're passing, of course, through illness, and then we're passing through healing. We are also passing through some sort of protection because our body, at the same time, that is chemistry, also, it has the capacity and the ability, to heal himself. So that in some way is also uh, seen or can be seen as some sort of divine protection, the perfect protection that the body gets as a gift from the outside world, that everything is okay despite the fact that we are ill and that we uh, are able, I mean, to heal from those illnesses, right? And then everything, of course, that is healed, we as nature, let's say, and we can see it from animals, we are nurtured, we're protected, and we are nurtured by default. So we are somehow, this is something that, I mean, we don't usually think about it, but when we open our eyes to the other levels of consciousness, we start to realize that there are things really that are protecting us, and eventually everything that is physical, it dies. So you take it, you take the context of animals, you take the context of plants, right? They all pass through that process, right? Even the environment passes through that process, through the seasons, right? We have fall, we have, winter, spring, summer, right? And in those phases, everything is born, everything, grows, is nurtured, is protected, is healed when it gets healed, and eventually it dies. And then our cells in our bodies, they do exactly the same thing. I was reading a study that our cells, basically, we are killing billions of cells every single day, and those billions of cells are being regenerated every single day as well. So we are in a daily process of being born and dying, right? So this is something that we need to understand in the process of transformation, right? That we are also dying to the old to be born to the new. Okay. So having said that, what I want to do now is I want you to feel comfortable, sit uh, in a very relaxed position, and I want you to experience a very short present moment of only breathing, in which you're going to bring to your awareness the sense of being this moment, being in the here, in the now, and simply focusing your attention to your forehead, to the point of light, allowing ourselves to simply let go of everything that is bothering you, letting go of everything that is conflicting the mind or is conflicting the emotions, and simply allow that light to take over our brain, to take over our mind. And while continue breathing, this is an exercise, that we have been doing over and over and over again in all of the series that we have done. You have already understood how the process of the brain actually functions, how it works, how it has been programmed. So this is the moment to just simply let go of the knowledge, let go of the arrogant mind. Let go of the belief that we think that we know everything, and simply allow ourselves to be still, just to breathe, to absorb the energy from the oxygen that is a gift, and just contemplate it. Allow yourself to simply listen to the silence that is inside of you, and allow yourself to simply be this present moment while paying attention only to the breathing, while paying attention only to the source of energy that is always protecting us, is always nurturing. Getting to the awareness that while you're breathing and you're experiencing silence and you're experiencing stillness, nothing is happening. And at the same time, everything is happening inside of you. You're in stillness, but your cells are talking to each other. Your brain is sending light from one point to the other one, from one neuron cell to the other neuron cells. There are cells that are moving, there are cells that are dying, and there are cells also that they're being born. And somehow there is an energy that is fluctuating and that is flowing inside of ourselves. And that energy is our strength. That energy is what is keeping us alive. Just be aware. Just bring into your awareness while you're breathing, the feeling inside of yourself of the temperature of your body from the inside and from the outside. And just be still and present to this moment. And then, continue breathing. And whenever you are ready, whenever you feel, simply close the attention of the conflictive mind and take the time just to contemplate yourself on that moment. Continue breathing. At this time, you can open your eyes or you can still have them closed, but just continue breathing. Continue contemplating the awareness of everything that is happening in your mind, everything that is being transcended, all the knowledge that is coming in, all the wisdom, everything that's coming out. Just surrender. Let go of everything that in your mind is being constructed and allow it to deconstruct, allow it to die. And at the same time, allow new information, new thoughts to get into your new mind of light. And then for the rest of the day, make it your challenge to be on that state of awareness, be on the state of being the mind of light rather than the mind of the warrior. Just continue breathing throughout the day. Just practice that, being continuous remembrance of that experience during the day. And I'll see you next series in which we're going to continue talking about transcending and experiencing higher levels of consciousness. Thank you very much. Have a blessed and wonderful day wherever you are. And Om Shanti.